Algermensch, Lord of Bones. So we all have a character that we, in our heads, have made probably more special than they actually are, right? Something that's cool in your meta, or they did a particularly cool thing, like took an entire charge from a Archark on bike and survived, didn't take a single wound, maybe something like that, or a fire warrior who ended up getting a melee kill on Drago, or an Arcane, or a Custody, who knows what, but you have a model that, a particular model, or an HQ unit, or something, unnamed, that means something important to you. And you spend weeks, months, years keeping that model set aside, afraid to start that project because it's too daunting a task. And when you finally decide, hey, I'm going to try starting, I have a paint scheme for the army, I have a theme for this character, I have a idea, I know where I'm going. And you finally get started on it. That's what we're going to talk about today. Getting over that hurdle of starting that character, starting truly on that character. After, procrastinating for 2 minutes. You just got to put some paint on that brush, and then from there, onto the model. And once you start it, once you figure out where you're starting, it's not so hard. So here we go. Except, you'll probably have noticed, right here, the model's not complete. The model's not perfectly fitted. And that's a problem if you're trying to get some paint into areas, or paint that you're trying to paint correctly, and then you see a thing that doesn't work. Now, unfortunately for my dumb self, I haven't noticed it yet. Still haven't noticed. So it's really not starting on that named character. We're going to talk about green stuff and sculpting. It was a trick. I tricked you. It was I finally noticed though, but I did you sneaky. So green stuff is a 2-part epoxy where you mix green and blue stuff that makes this sculpting clay-like material that is ooey gooey, super sticky, and you might want to keep some water on hand just to keep your fingers or your other tools wet and slick so that you can actually work with it and continue to work with it. Now, I've actually taken a lot of art classes and I've done a lot of work with clay before, so I thought, green stuff, probably about the same. And it's used a lot in the hobby along with, some other different types of stuff. I think gray stuff and blue stuff are some names of varying hardening times and speeds. But inevitably, you'll always have to use this somewhere, somehow, especially if you're customizing any of your models in any way, or in this particular case, fitting in some unruly models so they actually work. You always end up with more green stuff than you actually intended to have, which is okay if you've got some quick ideas and other models on the side. Now, I've put a couple of colors on this just to see how colors would look on this float drone, but I thought, well, you know what? What the heck? The fly motif really isn't part of my Knochengeist army, so why not, make this demon engine, which is what they are. That's a mechanical construct with a demon put into it to actually make it work as a power source. Why not put an eye of a more fleshy material coming out of that armor, to symbolize an actual demon engine? So that's what I started doing. And as you can see, I'm using the pliers, which I tend to use to apply stuff to begin, or tweezers to apply stuff to begin with. I'm using that to get some rough shape and rough positions, some actual hard edges connected to it, which is, you can use tools, any tools you have available, do what you have, use what you have, but it's not going to be as effective as the correct tool for it. Now, these are little sculpting tools that you can find online, Amazon, or a local game store if they have them available there, or a hobby store if you have them. I don't know any, so I don't have those. I got them on Amazon. But they have 2 pieces, a soft paste to actually spread and soften the harsh edges, and then a more a ball edge that you can actually pull and pick and prod and actually get some texture in there, whereas this one can smooth out that texture to give kind of these pockmark flesh looking effects. And I'm just spreading that green stuff out across the armor pane to try and get it look like it's, you know, creeping across the armor. Make it look like it's just it's coming from / growing out of, instead of just uh, being on top of. And then you just add some details in there. You kind of carve out, you know, I already had this, it was in there unintentionally, but I thought I'll just make it more pronounced. And a scar across the eye, maybe a bullet hit it, and it didn't actually do anything. It whizzed across the eye, it's left some scarring, and you push it in there to try and get it to have a realistic edge. I got this green stuff, because you always have extra green stuff. So why don't I just go ahead and attach this stuff too? Because what else am I gonna do with it? And for a moment I was like, I'll have it like a tongue or a horn coming off the top. Now originally it was going to be a horn. Didn't end up working as well as I'd hoped it would. It's hard to get just from the green stuff to work with that unless you have an underwire skeletal piece to actually make hardened ridges. So I went with a tongue instead, and here I'm just trying to incorporate that scratch scarring material on the armor into also some flesh, using the green stuff to try and get it to give the appearance of they cut through skin to get to the armor. And it's going to be a process. You gotta kind of push it in there and also work it around, but you eventually are able to get some of those ideas that you want. And even if it doesn't work the first time, just keep at it. Don't overwork it, which is a dangerous statement to make, because what's overworking if you don't know what you're doing? I don't know what I'm doing, but there's this moment of, you can tell, oh no, this is going to go bad. I'm overworking this. And when you hit that moment, probably stop, reevaluate, try it again. But as you can see here, I've got the scratches, I've got the green stuff in the ridges, not completely removing that scarring look, but also adding a little bit of, paint will definitely hopefully help if I have any skill in it, giving that appearance of an actual scar marking. And I got some ridges and edged it out. And here I'm just smoothing the actual eye, and just getting little extra details. Just keep going over it bit by bit, and you'll find these moments of, well, I can smooth this out, or I can bunch this up and actually make it look ridged, or maybe this particular edge needs to be pulled out more. I just keep working at it as my brain sees it, and as it's evolving, continuing to make the piece grow with itself. You can see the tongue up there is actually drooping, and I come back at it a little bit later to try and push it up a bit. And that's going to be part of the problem. This green stuff doesn't dry fast. It becomes sticky to the hands, so you got to keep wetting your tools and wetting your fingers to work with it. But it itself takes, I think, 6 hours is what it is. I don't know. I tend to leave it for a whole day.
It's time to play everybody's favorite game show. What does it look like?
Are you impressed with my artistic abilities, Heather? Did it actually look like an eye so far?
Yes. I knew it was an eye when I looked at it.
Do you know what this is? Just take a look at it, and what do you think what do you think it would be, considering this is a demon weapon?
That?
Yeah,
this
thing right here.
It looked like maybe a tentacle or something.
Okay.
Why? What is it?
I was just wondering, because it's the harder one to figure out. Like, this is obviously an eye, right? But
yeah. It looks like some monster thing. That's what it looks like.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Well, Heather, you got 1 out of 2, which is better than 0 out of 2. Got the eye, but not the tongue.
So this is a demon.
On average.
Oh, so the demons have...
Yeah,
They have smooth, perfect eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, they can't possibly have any weird, amorphic, ocular discrepancies. They have to have smooth. You got an idea what to call this thing? That monster? Hilarious.